Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of Birches, a poem by Robert Frost. This is a 59-line poem by Robert Frost written in blank verse or unrhymed iambic pentameter. The poem recounts the speaker's experience viewing a copse of birch trees which provoke a series of memories and philosophical musings. Birches begins with the speaker viewing a line of birch trees that bend to left and right in contrast with a stretch of straighter, darker trees adjacent to them. This image sets him on a path of reverie as he describes how he likes to think some boys being swinging them. But this is unlikely because swinging a birch tree does not permanently bend the tree. Ice storms are the more likely culprits. The speaker proceeds to describe how an ice storm impacts the birch trees. He suggests that the reader must also have experienced this, seeing birches the day after a rainstorm loaded with ice on a sunny winter morning. He describes the sound the iced over birches make when the wind blows on them, clicking and shifting in the light. As the sun continues to rise and melt the ice, the birches shed crystal shells shattering and avalanching on the snow crust. The shattering and melting of the ice is dramatic and loud, producing heaps of broken glass such that it appears the inner dome of heaven had fallen. The speaker notes that after the birches shed all of their ice, while they have not broken, now that they have been bent for so long, they never right themselves. He says that for years to come, they will remain arched in the wood, and he compares their bent form to girls drying their hair out in the sun. The speaker imagines a boy who lives in the country with no other children with whom he can play, and so he makes his own fun by going out to the birches and riding them down over and over again until he took the stiffness out of them and not one but hung limp. This boy perfects his technique, learning how to slide down the tree but not launching too soon, and thus not bringing the tree all the way to the ground. The speaker imagines the boy as careful in his approach, climbing to the top branches with the same pains you use to fill a cup up to the brim and even above the brim, and from there flinging himself down to the ground. The speaker turns inward at this point, admitting that the boy he has been describing is likely a representation of his own childhood. He turns philosophical, noting that when faced with the considerations and dilemmas of his current life, which he likens to a pathless wood, he wishes he could get away from earth a while and then come back to it and begin over. However, he does not want anyone to misunderstand him and think that he wishes to die. He says that earth's the right place for love, and he describes how he would like to climb a birch tree toward heaven till the tree could bear no more, but dipped its top and set me down again. The speaker sees value in both coming and going back and notes one could do worse than being a swinger of birches. Now the poem starts like this. Then I see birches bent to left and right across the lines of straighter dark trees. I like to think some boys been swinging them. So he says, I am seeing birches tree which have bent left and some on the right, but adjacent to them there are darker trees which are straight. And he says, I can imagine a boy swinging on those birch trees and bending them. But swinging doesn't bend them down to stay as ice storms do. But he says, just because one boy has swung the trees, it will not bend the trees. Maybe it is ice storms which has done this. Often you might have seen them loaded with ice a sunny winter morning after a rain. So he says, even you would have seen snow just getting loaded on these trees after a rain. They click upon themselves as the breeze rises and turn many colored as the still steer cracks and crazes their enamel. He says these ice will click on themselves to the top of these trees. And he says as the air blows, these ice will crack and it will craze the enamel. Soon the sun's warmth makes them shed crystal shells, shattering and avalanching on the snow crust. Such heaps of broken glass to sweep away, you would think the inner dome of heaven had fallen. And later on, after the winter, when the sun comes and that warmth will make these ice to shatter, and when they melt and fall down like crystal shells, it will be like an avalanching on the snow crust. And you may even think that the heaven has fallen down to earth. They are dragged to the withered bracken by the load, and they seem not to break, though once they are bowed so low for long they never right themselves. And all this ice will get dragged away, and what you will think is the tree will come back to its shape. But because the tree has been bent for a long time, the trees are now not able to correct themselves and come back to their original shape. You may see their trunks arching in the woods years afterwards, trailing their leaves on the ground, like girls on hands and knees that throw their hair before them over their heads to dry in the sun. So he says, when you see these trees all arching, it is as though girls are drying their hair in the sun. But I was going to say, when truth broke in, with all her matter of fact about the ice storm, I should prefer to have some boy bent them as he went out and in to fetch the cows. So he says, at the same time, I would like to tell you a truth. Though I feel that it is the ice storm which has bent these trees, I prefer to see one boy going out. He would have gone out to fetch the cows, but he would have been the boy who has bent all these trees when he went out to fetch the cows. Some boy too far from town to learn baseball, whose only play was what he found himself, summer or winter, and could play alone. Now, this boy will be a boy who will not be able to play baseball with others. He wouldn't have had friends to play any other games, and so he himself would have formed his game. And that game he would have played alone, whether it is summer or winter. And this is the game, that is climbing up the birch trees and bending them down and then rising again. This would have been the game which the boy has found himself. One by one he subdued his father's trees by riding them down over and over again until he took the stiffness out of them, and not one but hung limp, not one was left for him to conquer. And what this boy would have done is, he would have climbed up these trees one by one, and he would have bent them till down over and over again till the trees have lost their stiffness. And now he has made all the trees to hang like this, and nothing left for him to go and climb and conquer. He learnt all there was to learn about not launching out too soon, and so not carrying the tree away clear to the ground. Now this boy would have been very clever, so that he would have learned how to bend the trees so that they bend but don't touch the ground. He always kept his poise to the top branches, climbing carefully with the same pains you used to fill a cup up to the brim and even above the brim. Just like how when you are filling a cup till the brim or sometimes even above the brim, how careful you would have been. Same way this boy would have climbed to the top of the branches. Then he flung outward, feet first with a swish, kicking his way down through the air to the ground. And then from there he would have flown with his feet first, and he would have come down from the air and touched the ground. Only his feet would have touched the ground, but not the tree. So was I once myself a swinger of birches. And he says, I am able to say this because I was also a swinger of these birches when I was a small boy. And so I dream of going back to be. So my dream is, I really enjoyed that so much at that time, and I would love to go back again to do the same. It's when I'm weary of considerations and life is too much like a pathless wood, where your face burns and tickles with the cobwebs broken across it, and one eye is weeping from a twig's having lashed across it open. Now he's saying, I'm thinking about going back because now my life, that is a current life, is like a pathless wood. I don't know where I'm going, and where my face is burning and tickling with cobwebs which are broken across. And he says, one eye is weeping because one twig has lashed across it open. I like to get away from earth a while and then come back to it and begin over. So he says, I just want to go out of this earth for some time and then come back again as a small boy and start everything from the beginning. May not fate wilfully misunderstand me and half grant what I wish and snatch me away not to return. He says, please, I hope the fate is not misunderstanding what I'm saying. Because if it misunderstands and thinks that it has to grant my wish, it will take me away in the name of death. Earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. He says, no, I don't want to die because Earth is the best place to love. And I don't know where else you can go to experience this love. There's no other better place than Earth to have love and experience love. I like to go by climbing a birch tree and climb black branches up a snow white trunk toward heaven till the tree could bear no more, but dipped its top and sent me down again. I love climbing a birch tree, and I should climb on all to the top of the tree where it is filled with a snow white. The snow is on top of the tree, and it will be as though you're climbing towards the heaven till the tree will not be able to bear the weight because already snow is there. Now even I have also reached the top, and so the tree will start dipping its top down, and the tree will bring me down to the ground again. That would be good, both going and coming back. One could do worse than be a swinger of birches. So he says that will be so lovely, and he says there's nothing like being a swinger of birches, and he ends the poem here. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.